Welcome to another episode of Head to Head Sports. I'm your host, Brian Parker, along with my co-host, Mr. Randall Hargrove. How you doing, sir?
Doing well, man. I see you got that Panther gear on.
Oh, you know it. You know it. Oh, my goodness, man. We are back after I guess, 2-week hiatus. I was up in New York last week, and I just could not get to my computer to be able to broadcast. So I do apologize for missing last week, guys, but we are definitely going to make it up for this show for sure. The NFL certainly didn't stop in our absence. So we got a lot of room to cover. Thanks for joining us. We are streaming live on LinkedIn, Facebook, as well as YouTube on our channel, Parker Media Empower TV Network. And the show also will air on our Roku TV as well as Amazon Fire TV as well. Check those out on Empower TV Network on your streaming apps. But yeah, Rand, how was your week, man? How was Christmas?
Man, it was freaking awesome, man. I just want to start with two things to start the show off. Mm-hmm. One on a serious note and then one on a lighter note. Okay. On a serious note, man, it just really struck my heart to hear about the passing of Franco Harris.
Yes.
That was my dude from the time I was 8 years old when I first became a Steelers fan and started watching football. He was the very first athlete that I looked up to as a Steelers fan.
Wow.
And just to see the immaculate reception back then, that was – when we see strange plays now all of the time, right? We see miracle endings to football games quite often. But back then, that was like one of the only times where you saw something that immaculate, for lack of better words, happen in a football game.
Right.
And just from that time I saw that replay. I wasn't a football fan to see it live, but I did catch the replay. And of course, that sparked the Steelers dynasty, so to speak, in the 70s. So just to hear about his passing, and especially here at the 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception, 2 days before he was about to be honored.
Right.
He was supposed to be part of that celebration, and he just died. So that just really affected me as a Steelers fan, man. Give me your thoughts on that one, and then I'll hit you with my lighter note.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. That hit me out of left field about Franco, and that term, the Immaculate Reception. I mean, we're talking about the 70s, and that term, when you say that, everybody that's a football fan with any length of history automatically knows exactly what that is. And like you said, for a lot of people that I know that are Steelers fans, that's one of the things that they list in their top 10, as far as Steeler lore and things of that nature. The Steelers have been such a tight family for so long. And, we even got to mention that one of the Rooney's sons passed away. I think it was today or yesterday.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it's kind of biting them right now. But the Steelers always come together. I gave the Steelers no chance to win that game, and they went out there and they played one hell of a game for Franco. I mean, you could just see that they just had it in them that they were not going to lose that game come hell or high water. Some way or another, they were going to sit there and churn out a victory when, I mean, they had every reason to just sit there and just go through the motions, and they did way more than that. And they earned a hell of a win the other day. So Franco will be truly missed. From what I hear, he was just as good, if not better, as a total human being off the field as he was as one on the field. And the fact that his legacy on the field is in a lot of ways outshined by the guy that he was off the field says a lot, because he set a really high bar on the field.
You know what's crazy about the Immaculate Reception that I never even thought about until today. Somebody posted the video of it, and it had Franco talking about it and everything. But what's crazy about it shows his hustle, right?
Yeah,
because
he didn't give up on that play.
he didn't give up on it, and he easily could have. He was staying in to block on that play.
Correct.
It happened way downfield, and for whatever the reason, as soon as Bradshaw threw the ball, Franco felt the need to run down and hustle, and all of a sudden, hey, I got a ball in my hand. But like Franco said, had he been a second late, or a second too soon, that immaculate reception never happens. It's just
ball hits the ground and the game's over.
The game's over. Yeah.
That's exactly right.
If he doesn't hustle, ball hits the ground, game's over. We're not even talking about any of this. It's just, just speaks to his hustle, his desire to win. And again, part of the reason why, again, he became just my first football athlete that I looked up to as a young child. Coming into my Steelerhood. They tried to make me a cowboy when I was little.
Did they?
I resisted. For whatever reason, I just didn't latch on to that. They tried to make me a Redskin.
Really?
Yeah. Washington, D.C. is the closest thing to a professional franchise here in North Carolina for a kid growing up here. Back in the day, everybody was either Redskins fans or Falcons fans.
Right.
I resisted both of that. And for whatever the reason, I latched on to the black and gold when I was 8 years old and just never let go of that. So, yeah, man. And on a lighter note, I just want to congratulate my boy BPUNC for making the championship of Facebook Kings Fantasy Football League. Go ahead, B. Go ahead, man.
Hey. I'm going for my second chip. Almost my third. I came short one year, very, very close, but it's been a crazy year, man. It really has. And,
what a comeback,
man!
I'm about to be crowned.
I know. I was really expecting to go against Simon, and I was like, because I even told my wife, I said, "Yeah, it's gonna be me. It's gonna be 1 and 2 because the only way Simon's gonna get knocked out, man, the Bills' defense would just." Or was the Bills or Chargers? Their defense would just have to score 20 points to knock him out. Because the guy that I was going against, that he was going against, there was no way. He was 20-something points down, and it was due to the Monday night game. And I was like, there's no way he's going to get 24 points. And that's exactly what he did. I was just like, okay.
Thanks to you, Nick Foles. We appreciate that.
Yeah, the guy that's been the number one all season, he ain't going to the chip. So I was like, oh my gosh, anything can happen. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. And hopefully I can bring it home. That's going to be a little bit of redemption for me because my works league, I came in 7th place. So it's just kind of funny how one league you can be the GOAT and the next one you just be the also ran kind of guy. So
bro, it's crazy because I thought I drafted better than any draft I have ever drafted in fantasy
I feel like that too.
Ever. And I just absolutely collapsed this year.
Anthony Price, Brian, you feeling yourself? I see you wearing a Panthers shirt. I've never seen that before. That is true. Hopefully, I'm trying to give my Panthers. Look, I look at all the NFL, but yes, I'm down here in Charlotte. But my Panthers have a chance to do something pretty crazy, which is, after losing their number one star player, after firing their coach after a 1-4 start, 1-5, when everybody started talking about that they were going to just start tanking for next year and everything else, those group of guys in that locker room came together and said, F the rest of y'all, we going out there, we going to win. And now they are a team that is in total control of their destiny. Thank you for the segue too, Anthony, because they are in total control of their destiny. A lot of other teams, and like I posted earlier, including your Steelers, they have to do their part, but then they have to wait around for other people to do theirs.
Yes, Carolina needs massive help.
Yes, Carolina, all you have to do is win your last 2 games, and you're in. You don't have to wait around for any ties, any late game field goals. You go win your next 2 games, bruh. You already go ahead and pack your luggage because you're gonna be on the road. No. They will host. I'm sorry. You get a home playoff game because you get division.
It's crazy. It is
That's
crazy to
stupid.
think.
I just thought about that. I'm like, wait a minute,
To
because I'm
think,
thinking about the record being 8-9 if they
yeah,
went out.
to think where the Panthers were about a month ago and where we're at now, the opportunity that's in front of us. All you got to do is win 2. Man, who saw that coming?
Oh my goodness. Hey, Anthony, you said, did I know I have subtitles on the screen? I do have subtitles on the screen on the mobile app. That is true. Is that where you're watching? Never mind. Sorry, that was my phone. Yeah. I was gonna say yes. If you're looking on your phone, yes, and it's actually pretty good. It does pick up any of our Southern talk, so it does understand what it is we're saying. Now, if we were in West Virginia, South Carolina, I'm pretty sure all bets are off. Sorry if anybody's from there, but you know what I mean. Geechee talking people. But anyway, yeah, it's crazy. So they can win their next 2 games. They don't need any help, and their first playoff game would be a home game.
Yes, crazy.
That's
Insane,
stupid.
man.
And not only that, Rand, but these dudes, what's going on, Mr. Joe Lowry? Their running game actually got better once they got rid of C-Mac. And that's not the, I mean, Christian McCaffrey is a dynamic receiver. What's good, Joe? But the fact that these guys have been more committed to the run, ran in the first half of the Detroit game, I believe they had over 240 yards rushing.
Yes, both running backs had over 100 yards in the first half, both of them.
You're going to win a lot of games like that. And I mean, I'll get to Sam Darnold in just a second, but I mean, this line, Deontay Freeman, 21 carries, 165 yards and a touchdown, 7.9 yards to carry. Chuba Hubbard. Jermaine Parker, what's going on, bro? Chuba Hubbard, 12 carries, 125 yards, 10.4 per. Sam Darnold, he ran for 19 yards. DJ Moore ran for 8, and Blackshear ran for a few as well. But they have been really, really committed to the run. Hit the holes and take some names. That is exactly what they did, Joe. And they definitely did that over and over. They beat them into submission. What's good, brothers? What's good, JP? They just kept running it down their throat. And you know, one of my biggest stats is always ball control. And they had the ball in their hands for 35 minutes of the game. That's a really, really good ball control. And when you do that, again, you're taking the air out. Oh, I'm sorry. Before I get to the ball control, Rand, they also put up another record. 570 total yards of offense.
Yep. Domination. We call that domination. And you speaking of the run game, I'm going to speak of something else with the word run in it. These Panther players are ready to run through a wall for Steve Wilks.
Yes.
They want this so bad for Wilks, and I want it for Wilks as well. Please go ahead and win these final 2 games so we could get this man a job, because he needs to stay in Charlotte.
That's right. I mean, look, if Steve Wilks is the coach, yes, you will see a lot of black and blue, but you will also see a whole lot of maroon and gold. And if they don't know what I'm talking about, I'm talking about them West Charlotte Dub C Lions. That's right. Dub C, you know. That's right. Steve Wilks, former Lion. So all the Lions are definitely proud of him for sure. Joe says facts. Timothy says the question is, will it be Carolina or the Bucs playing America's team the first round? Tim, I'm going to piggyback off of what Anthony said before that, where he said, you know, the NFL wants Brady and Rodgers in the playoffs. Of course they do. Of course they do. And I am aware of the fact that the referees are probably going to do everything they can to make sure that if you even stare at Tom Brady, somehow there's going to be a damn flag. I already know. I'm just hoping that they'll be down by so much that the refs can't even bail him out of it. Because if it's a close game, I'm going to give it to Brady because I know it's going to be 12-11. I already know. It just is.
Keep your helmets on, fellas.
Yeah, right. I mean, anything that might be questionable as a penalty, taunting, excessive, whatever, late hits, And look, you ain't really got to hit Brady. All you got to do is be 2 steps in front of him, and he throwing the ball in the dirt anyway. Brady is not going to risk taking a hit. He getting worse and worse with this thing. I think Carolina's player better. Joe said stare. Yeah, I mean, if you look at Brady too long, that's a flag. That's taunting. You could have messed up his hair follicles or some craziness. So
what's working in our favor right now is the fact that, and I do say our because I do identify also as a Panthers fan, and then I could do that if I want to do that. What works in our favor right now is the fact that we are actually the more physical football team.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Tampa for the longest has been lauded as having this defense that, will just sit there and tighten you and make you a one-sided team and everything else. But they don't have that right now. Vita Vea isn't there. Shaq Barrett's out. So they're missing a lot of their cogs on their defense. They didn't have JPP come back. They didn't have Ndamukong Suh come back. So the whole complexity of their defense has changed. And then when you look at the other side of the ball, I said I was doing bad on my fantasy team for my work. Well, part of the reason is no doubt I had Mike Evans and Chris Godwin all year who underperformed because Brady can't get the ball down the field. It's let me try to get to Julio. Julio is not Julio anymore. Let me try to get to Sky Miller. Let me try to get it to Auden. But they cannot get it to their 2 best receivers, who I think they need to do them a favor in this offseason and release the both of them so they can latch onto a team where they have a chance of actually winning some games. Vita may play. If he's a maybe, Joe, and Joe did mention sneezing, stretching, you can't do nothing around Brady. That is true. I mean, my God, if you just sit there and you go to tuck your shirt back in and you too close to Brady, they might call a personal foul. I'm just saying. But anyway, Vita may play. If he's kind of on the fringe, he may not be at 100%, and they can exploit that.
Plus, they'll exploit it big time.
Plus, what they've been really doing with Sam Darnold that I've been screaming for forever, whether it was Darnold back there, PJ Walker, or Baker Mayfield, Darnold has a better QBR when he's actually rolling out of the pocket. Well, listen, if you ain't in the pocket when Vita Vea come up, I love Vita. He ain't chasing you down.
Yeah.
if he breaks past that center and comes up the middle and you ain't there, Vita's done for that play. You just took Vita out of the play.
So 2 things before you go any further with that. Vita, he might play, he might not. That proves to me that he's not 100%.
Exactly.
Bringing Bradley Bozeman into this Panther offensive line at center has increased their potential big time. Mm-hmm. That's really when their run game started to take off, is when they added Bozeman at center. The Panthers are much more physical offensive line with Bozeman in there as opposed to the last guy. The second point that you had made about I'm forgetting what you said, bro.
Rolling out?
Yes, rolling out. The second point you made about rolling out, Sam Darnold is an athlete. He's an athlete. He can escape the pocket, roll out, and actually outrun people. Where we had Baker Mayfield before, he might be able to roll out, but he ain't running from nobody.
Correct. When Baker rolled out, he rolled out to get away. When they're designing the plays for Sam to run out, that's an actual design play. Meaning that as he's doing that, the other players know that he's rolling out, and then they're finding a spot on the field to make themselves available for the pass. When you're having to roll out because you see about 4 different faces coming at you and you're basically running for your life, you're running out of fear and trying to get away, not to try to make a play down the field. So when he rolls out like that, a lot of times it's from misdirection where they're trying to pull the defense one way. He rolls the opposite direction and lets somebody run a straight crossing pattern. And that way you're throwing people open. That's another good thing that Sam Darnold is doing right now, which I always talk about. This is when you don't need a player to throw every play. You need a player to make the right throw at the right time. Sometimes the right throw is to throw it out of bounds.
Yes, and he's making those decisions.
Right. Sometimes the right throw is to sit there as you're on the roll Yes, maybe you are throwing across your body, but you're still looking downfield, but you still have the ability to freeze the defense because they don't know if you're going to throw it or if you're going to run.
So do we bring him back next year?
Yeah, you do. But do you sit there and put all your chips in the middle? No, I wouldn't do that.
No, you still draft a quarterback.
I still draft a quarterback that I can either develop because, like Timothy just said, y'all's O-line has become the silent warriors. They've stepped up big. Joe says big facts. Very underrated as an athlete. Talking about Sam, his biggest issue has been between his shoulders, decision making. But right now he's balling. And Joe says extend him for a year. Totally agree with that. They already picked up a 5th-year option, so now go ahead and pick him up for another year. You probably don't have to, sign him for too much, but let him now have another year under his belt. Have some continuity with this. The one thing that quarterbacks really need is continuity. He didn't have that in New Jersey to begin with. That's why I thought initially when he came to Carolina, I saw the athleticism and I figured, and he's a taller guy. And I'm like, okay, he can stand in the pocket. He can step up in the pocket. He can roll out when we need him to. You put all that together, but whatever Steve Wilks has been able to get out of him that Matt Rule couldn't, says a lot about Steve Wilks and why that continuity needs to be there for the whole team to have Steve Wilks as their head coach going into next year.
Yeah, this is definitely the best offensive line that Darnold's had in his whole career right here, right now. And it's also the most dominant left tackle that he's had.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just got a hello from Bianca. Oh, on YouTube. Hey, Bianca. Tuning in on the Empower TV network on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in here. Yeah. Anthony says that that signing for J No, previously J No 24, now J No 6, aka Batman, aka Bring Back Thieves Avenue, is back in the house. That is true. We'll see what he has left in the tank. And Josh Norman was a back for Steve Wilks, so there's some familiarity there. Joe also says that I know we're talking Panthers, but Tar Heels just landed a 5-star 2024 point guard. Hey, it's always a good time about Carolina, Joe. So nothing wrong with that. That is awesome. They're gonna need him because man, they kind of up and down this year, but hopefully they get their act together when it means the most, and that's gonna be in March. But hopefully they get these kinks worked out. Hopefully Caleb and the boys will just start finding that magic. And they kind of did that last year where they started out a little slow, and then towards the end they really started getting hot at the right minute. And a lot of times that's what it really takes. It's not so much how you start. Ask the Panthers. It's about getting hot at the right minute and taking that momentum into the playoffs. I specifically remember the Steelers a few times going into the playoffs as a wild card and winning the Super Bowl. Oh, okay. Lord have mercy. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and do it. I will, Jermaine. You're right. Can you acknowledge at some point that I was right about Matt Ryan? Take your time. So at the beginning of the year when I said Matt Ryan could be that Phillip Rivers, could be that bridge for the Indianapolis Colts because of what I saw with their offensive line, how Jonathan Taylor was running, that he could manage the game, that you wouldn't have to rely on him to throw 35 times a game. Oh, I just got the notification, Joe. Elliot Cadu. I just came across my phone, so that's funny. But yeah, Jermaine, you were absolutely right. I said Matt Ryan would be okay. He'd be the mentor for younger quarterbacks. He would stabilize the locker room. He's got experience. He'll protect the ball and everything else. Dude comes in as a flat out turnover machine. And Jermaine early cast him as and I quote, bum. And I thought he was being too hard. So you know what, Jermaine, the good thing about doing what we do is we can be totally wrong. We are just two sports weathermen on the TV talking about things. And you know how weather is sometimes. You can call for snow and you get up the next morning and ain't a drop hit the ground. So that's what happened with Matt Ryan. Is that I was basing it off of what I've seen him do in the past. But Jermaine, to your point, what I'm seeing a lot more, and Rand, I know you see this too, man, but sometimes these quarterbacks can really be doing okay, especially, I mean, the older ones. And within a few games, Father Time they just track them down. It reminds me of players that would be on a fast break and think they're about to have a layup, and LeBron is just running, and he running, and he running. And the next thing you know, they go up for the layup. And the next thing you know, LeBron just sits there and swats the ball away. And you're like, damn, I thought I was way ahead of him.
Yeah, their games just fall off of a cliff.
Oh,
and
my
that happened
God.
with not only Matty Ice, because you weren't along in that assessment. I was right there with you. So my apologies too, Jermaine. I thought Matty Ice had a little bit more left in the tank than what he's displaying, but he has absolutely nothing left anymore. And the other quarterback that doesn't have anything left either, at least it doesn't seem that way, is Russell Wilson. His game is gone. It's gone. What happened? Wow. He's just robbed the Broncos of $250 million because they own for him.
That ain't the biggest robbery. Woo,
man.
Yeah. I like to shout out Randall. Pittsburgh, they keep winning. There's a chance they won't go below 500. Bro,
Mike Tomlin is a genius.
That is the most craziest thing about Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. New bag, same trash for Joe. Yeah, but the thing about Pittsburgh is that they haven't had a losing season since when?
They have not had a losing season since 1988, and that was when they finished in the bottom of the old AFC Central, which is not even a thing anymore.
I remember the Central. Yeah. That, that says a lot. And a lot of those seasons, and you know what? I would go far as say this. If it was still a 16-game season, they would definitely be at least 8-8.
Yeah.
What's changing the dynamics now is 17 games. So the only way that you can have 8 wins and not have a losing season is one of the games would have to be a tie. But with that said, they win their next 2 games, even though playoff implications, they're still going to need help. That would still be a testament to a team that 1 year removed from Ben Roethlisberger, still some questions at quarterback. Yes, Kenny Pickett seems like he's going to be the future, but he's a rook and he's going through his growing pains. And still with that and going to Trubisky sometimes, to still carve out a winning season with all of that, Watt, TJ in and out of the roster, man, that's a hell of a coaching job. You got rid of Chase Claypool. Deontay Johnson is there sometimes. George, what's the name? George, is it George Mickens?
Pickens
has emerged as a number 1, I believe. My God, the future looks good, but the now ain't that bad either when you look at all of it. So you're absolutely right, Anthony, about Pittsburgh having the opportunity to continue a very, very impressive streak. That's crazy. Ask the Rams. You go from winning the Super Bowl 1 year to looking like total boo-boo the next year. And yes, it's because of injuries and stuff like that. But everybody gets bit by the injury bug. The Steelers are no exception from that. And to still maintain a streak like that, that's nothing to sniff at. I mean, that's pretty strong. So kudos definitely to them. And yes, Jermaine, Matt Ryan, I will say it one more time, is a bum. But there's a lot of guys that we're going to have to figure out what's going to happen to them next year. You brought up Russell Wilson, and Monday after letting Baker Mayfield-led team score 50 freaking 1 points on you.
Baker Mayfield.
You should lose your job. You should definitely lose your job if you let Baker Mayfield led team score 51 points on you. I don't care how they did it. He aged overnight. Jermaine said thanks. You're welcome. Is that all you wanted? Listen, Baker Mayfield, 24 of 28. You know, it's always funny how they do this when we let them go.
I'm sorry. Did you just say 24 of 28?
He missed 4 passes all game.
Baker Mayfield was 24 of 28.
Now, the sad part is it was only for 230 yards.
I don't care.
But still, for Baker, that's like 500 yards.
Wow.
2 touchdowns and no picks.
Wow.
That you let Baker Mayfield. Now, Cam Akers couldn't be stopped either. 23 carries, 118 yards, 3 touchdowns. So they did pound it on the ground pretty well. He was their go-to guy. But you had Higbee, the tight end, catching those 2 touchdowns from Baker. Baker was was his biggest target, 9 receptions for 94 yards. So not all he really did, but what he did was he got the ball out of his hands quick. There was a lot of yards after the catch. But Baker, he got those yards because he found his tight end open and he exploited that matchup. He did a good job of that. I will give Baker his credit. The issue that I have with quarterbacks like Baker or Dak Prescott is they'll give you a good game followed up by a dookie game. So you just don't know when they're inconsistent. You don't know when you're due for the dookie game. So when you're ready to put them on your fantasy team, when you're ready to sit there and say, okay, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, then they go back to being dookie again.
You know what those stats sound to me a lot alike? I hear a whole lot of quit in those stats.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think the Broncos front office realized a whole lot of quitting those players, and they did the right thing by letting Hackett go. Should have probably
not only that, but hold on. Let's see. Joe said he aged overnight. What Jermaine says, what do the Broncos do next season at quarterback?
They ain't got no choice.
I mean, look, they knew that Hackett was only part of the problem, but he was the only part of the problem that they could address. Exactly. There is over $100 million of dead cap salary money if you cut Russell Wilson. Now, you can sit his ass down and eat that salary. Luckily for you, the Walton's on the franchise now, so all they got to do is do a couple more rollback specials at Walmart, and they can go ahead and make up that $100 million quite easily. Or get a couple of tax cuts by opening up a few more Walmarts, and they'll be just fine. But still, I wouldn't be beholden to Russ. This is what I would do, Jermaine. I would draft a quarterback because your record going to let you get somebody. Or you may be able to move up in the draft. If you had an opportunity to move up in the draft and get you a quarterback. And this is what I would say to Russell. We don't know who the starter is going to be next year. There is going to be an open quarterback competition. If you want the job, you better show up for the OTAs. You better show up for minicamp. And if you win the job, you win the job. If you don't, you don't. That's how I would go in and address it. The other thing that I would do, Jermaine, too, is shore up that offensive line and really try to establish a running game. So if it is Russell Wilson, kind of use the Panthers DNA where you go back to being a running team like they used to be in years past. Sometimes they would have a dual back where Russell doesn't need to be great. He just doesn't need to be the reason that you lose.
Yeah, they still got 2 very good wide receivers there. They're just hurt right now. They got Judy and they got Patrick there, and they got another one too. I forget his name.
But, right now, what you need to do is if you want Jerry Jeudy, who is a dynamic guy, to get the ball, you may have to start running some reverses and little plays like that to get his legs moving and line him up on different sides of the ball. Having him just split straight out as a receiver is not going to do you well because now Russell's height is a disadvantage. These short quarterbacks, when they can't run and elude defenders anymore, what made them special is gone. What made Johnny Manziel special was because he could outrun you. What makes Lamar Jackson special is he can outrun you.
Johnny Manziel was never special. Take that back.
No, why they thought he was special.
Thank you. I'll take that.
Or Robert Griffin, RG3. Same thing. He was elusive. Nobody sat there and herald the fact that he could throw a hell of a spiral. He get the ball down the field. Now, could he do those things at times? Yes. But the reason that they got drafted the way that they did had to do more with their legs. Kyler Murray, once he can't elude people anymore, once he look like he be running real fast and ain't going nowhere, and got a big old helmet on his head. When it look like he can't do that no more, he's not going to be able to do those things. When his running is not, Johnny Manziel was just a college fad. That's true. Facts. But real talk, Broncos have been incompetent all three phases. Joe Lowry also said he beat the Raiders and the Ponies. I'm not impressed. I ain't giving Baker nothing. I agree, but Baker is going to show up every now and then.
Every now and then, that's it.
But the problem is that when you're the starting quarterback, when you were drafted number one, like I believe Shannon Sharp had said on his show before, when you're the number one overall pick, you are supposed to be a transcending player. You're supposed to be able to make people, the rest of the guys on your team, better. For what they lack, you're supposed to be able to take that up and take them to the promised land. You on your third team, bro. That's why I wouldn't give him nothing either.
He's never going to be that.
Nobody expects anything from Baker. Hell, you watch the tape, you don't know what to expect from him. Tim says the Broncos are wasting one of the more talented receivers in the league in Sutton. Amen.
Sutton, that's the other guy I was thinking of.
Sutton. And I feel the same way about Godwin over in Tampa. You're wasting him away. Let him go. Let him be on another team where he can really make a difference. I heard Carolina's looking for a receiver. Adam Osman, what's up, Adam? He says they have 0 draft picks. I know I'm jumping in late. That's all good. What they may have to do is do some trades, get real creative with how they're going to approach the draft. Jermaine says they're not hurt, just not going to risk it for Russell. That's it right there, Jay. They've given up, and that's what I was going to get to is watching Undisputed with Shannon Sharp. You know, he's a former Bronco, so his ear to the Broncos locker room is pretty strong. And what he's been hearing is that they just don't like this dude.
They don't like him. I've read the same thing. They don't like him.
He's got his own personal office at the complex. No other player has their own office. That is kind of, he does this whole thing about Broncos country. Let's ride. Ain't nobody wanting you to ride no more, Rose. They want you to ride your ass to that bench and sit down with a ball cap and a clipboard. That's what they want you to ride.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what they don't want you to do is working out on a plane while everybody else is trying to sleep. That pissed a lot of players off.
Yeah, they just don't. They think he's goofy, and he's always been goofy. He was just tolerable because he married Sierra. And Russell, if you didn't have all that money right now, I would be able to holler at Sierra and take her away from you. You got all that money, bro. That's the only reason she with you. If you didn't have that money, Sierra called me.
You should have signed with Cleveland, bro. They would have gave you at least $100 million guarantee.
Oh God. Let's see. Anthony says, "Is this the last season we see Cart in Vegas?" I will get to that one because now he's been benched.
Yes.
That's supposed to be rare, though. Not many number one overall quarterbacks have been that, sadly. That's true. And Joe, to your point, that's why they put so much stock in trying to retread these number ones, because they don't want to give up on them. Look at Baker, look at Carson Wentz, look at Sam Darnold wasn't number one, but he was high in the draft. You look at a lot of those guys, and even when the writing is on the wall, because they don't want to admit, hey, we made a mistake. We fell for the okie doke. So they want to sit there, and they'll give these number ones a whole lot more opportunities than they will give a 4th round pick that maybe needs more development. That wasn't in the right system and things like that. So I agree with you on that. Elway is the downfall of that team, says Adam. And and Joe says Russ got a Brady set up. So yeah, he got it all set up where he's part coach. But for whatever reason, him and Hackett just couldn't get on the same page. He's not one of the favorites in the locker room. And Adam says a lot of those number ones have had so many coaches. Adam, I agree with that. that does have a lot to do with it. That was my point about now that Sam Darnold is in a good place. It's a good idea probably to let Steve Wilks kind of keep his core staff in there. I know we talk about Ben McAdoo sometimes, but it looks like under the right circumstances, Ben McAdoo does okay sometimes.
Yeah, McAdoo is actually not a Steve Wilks guy. Steve Wilks has like hardly any of his staff right now.
That is correct.
I'm looking forward to an offseason where he makes the hires he wants to hire, and then this thing is going to take off in the right direction, I believe, anyway.
Yeah. But so, capping Denver, though, Denver's defense can, if they can stay where they are, they can get a line that can really do more gap opening, blocking, stuff like that for running backs, where whoever the quarterback is, hell, it could be Trevor Siemian back there that can sit there and just make the right throws to keep the chains moving. When you put your defense, and I say this for any defense, when you constantly put your defense in a position that when they get to the sideline, they can't even take their damn helmet off because you prone to throw another interception and they got to run back out there, that does not inspire confidence in the defense. And it can make an extraordinary defense ordinary because they're tired, because you constantly have them on the field. So a lot of that is going to have to go into it with Denver. Adam says being in a constant helps the growing. And that's a great idea, Joe. Joe says, I'd love to see Wilks bring in a Frank Reich. Frank Reich did better when he was a quarterback's coach.
That's a great call, man. That is an absolutely great call. If we could pluck him from Indianapolis, I mean, if he would take a demotion to be an offensive coordinator, I mean, he's got some familiarity with the Panthers. He used to quarterback here back in the day. So, man, I would love that name.
A lot of them do it. I mean, we've seen Jack Del Rio go from a head coach to a D coordinator. We've seen John Fox go from head coach to a D coordinator. So we've seen it. You may have to pay a little bit, but you got an owner that seemingly doesn't care about money. He just gave a rookie head coach $60 million.
I think Indianapolis is going to blow it up after this year, start all over again, and that head coach being gone might be part of the blow-up process.
Okay, so Tim asked a great question from the standpoint that I want to address it. After the failure in Arizona, do you feel Wilks can really be successful as head coach in Carolina?
Hell yeah, because he didn't get a shot in Arizona. He really didn't.
Look, this was a effed up organization to begin with. Steve Wilks took an opportunity because it was one of 32 jobs. It doesn't mean that it was the best job in the best situation, but it was one of 32. He went out there, did the best that he could. If we put that whole debacle in Arizona on his shoulders just because he wore the title of head coach, that's probably really missing the target. There were a lot more things there. And think about it this way, too. One season. Now, I know Nathaniel Hackett just got fired for 15 games or whatever, but he really didn't have everything that he needed to be successful in Arizona to begin with.
He couldn't build it.
Yeah. And then they gave up on him so quick because they already had in their mind they were going to go after somebody else. Because didn't they immediately go after Wonder Boy right after that?
Yeah, I want you guys to Google. I don't have the capability right now, but Google who their quarterback was when he was there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's your homework assignment.
And Joe says, at Tim, Wilks didn't fail in Arizona. He was set up to fail. And then he elaborated more. They had no one, and they wanted Kingsbury, period, because he was the hot name available. He had none of what Kingsbury had. Yeah, Kingsbury was the boy wonder. And the crazy thing was Kingsbury wasn't coming from a winning program either, but they wanted him. They had Josh Rosen, instead of That's
Thank
right.
You, Austin.
Right. I remember that now.
Enough said, man. Enough said.
Exactly.
Enough said.
And all that trash in Arizona. Exactly. So a lot of times, you get a coach, you got a owner that's supportive, you got good front office people, his relationship right now with his front office right now is different than what he had in Arizona. And you can see if you give him an opportunity, he can inspire a lot of guys to do a lot of good things. So, Anthony, you jumped on YouTube, I see. Sean Payton would shine in Arizona. He would, because he would run the game a little bit different. That's true. Joe says, after Adam says all that trash in Arizona, Joe says wet trash, not dry. Wet trash smells worse. That's true. Oh man. And Tim says, to me, the biggest thing is that he has to have locker room support. The team believes in him. And that is a big thing. Steve Wilks has come in after everybody basically wrote the Carolina Panthers obituary. He came in, righted the ship, told these guys that he believed in them, worked with them, inspired them to be their best, and they saw the results as a result of that. When nobody expected anything from them after they got rid of Robbie Anderson, Christian McCaffrey, after all those things got put into motion, it was like, oh, okay, it's a fire sale. I said the same thing. I'm like, oh God, fire sale. Okay,
cool. Too. Yep.
Let's start talking draft. Okay, that's what we do. Okay, draft. That's all a player wants. Got to go, fellas. Good talk tonight. Panthers 28-17. I love it, Mr. Lowry. Have a good night, sir. Appreciate you.
Hope so, Mr. Lowry.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a good call for that game. I don't even know Tampa can score 17 points though, but that's a good call to hold them under 20. I think the way the defense is playing and the pressure that they're going to put on Brady, Mike Evans is not elusive. You just can't let him get behind you. Chris Godwin is not the fastest guy out there. His ACL is still not 100%. He's not going to get away from you. Keep everything in front of you. Every now and then, go get Brady just to force him to keep him honest with the blitz. Don't just rush 4 all the time. And you should get enough pressure on Brady. Man, if Brian Burns can get to Brady a couple of times or get close, that will be good. If Kunu can hold up a little bit on the other side, keeping pressure off of Darnold, that would be great too. So there's a lot of things that I see that could happen in this next game. Tampa is not Tampa in the Super Bowl at all. They are not that. Nobody is afraid on their schedule.
The only thing that concerns me is the J.C. Horn injury. Had J.C. been 100%, not broken his wrist, and he's out there, I think the Panthers destroy Tampa. But J.C. is not out there, so now hopefully, Josh Norman has enough athleticism left in the tank to take on a beast named Mike Evans.
Yeah,
we're gonna see. But that's an important matchup.
And I hope to God that Julio doesn't turn into T.Y. Hilton for 1 week.
Yeah,
with the 30-yard catch or whatever that was on a 3rd and 30. Josh Norman, says Adam. Yeah, and look, as long as Josh Norman is over the fact of when Derrick Henry sat there and threw him down like a rag doll, hopefully we'll be okay. Hopefully I don't have any. Because last time I remember Josh Norman, Derrick Henry just made him look terrible. But in keeping it honest, he does that to a lot of people. So
our boy Robbie Jenkins is on Facebook Live.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. What's up, Mr. Robbie?
Okay, what's going on there? Hey, so the Broncos have a lot of work to do. Now, talking about the Raiders, because that did come up. You can't recover from that. That's true. Talking about the Raiders. So now they've basically said the season is over. Derek Carr is going to be put on the bench. I'll get to those picks too, Tim. Good question. So Derek Carr has now been benched, Rand. I don't know if you heard that. That was made official.
I did.
And
they're going
to go with Stiddy, as Belichick used to call him. So Stiddy's going to get a start, and they say they want to evaluate and everything else. But the truth of the matter is, the real reason is that Derek Carr's contract doesn't have as much guaranteed unless he gets injured.
Yeah.
So right now, Derek Carr is very healthy. And if they are going to cut him, then they won't have to pay out as much in salary as long as he's healthy. But if he's injured, they got to pay a lot of money. So
Yeah.
they're trying to keep him healthy is what they're trying to do, and keep his draft value as high as it possibly can be. The
What
problem is
the writing?
the problem is there ain't a lot of good tape lately to keep his draft up, but it could still be enough for some team because they like to look at these retreads and they'll go, I can do something with him. I can do something with him. And there they go with that. You know what? Somebody had a Trey Lance comment, and I missed it because we were rolling through it. There's so many comments on here, but I didn't want to miss that Trey Lance one. I'm trying to go back. Oh, Anthony said it. I'm sorry, Anthony. It was a while back. It was 9 minutes ago. Sorry. Think 49ers messed up drafting Trey Lance. They should have drafted Justin Fields. Him and Debo would be amazing. Aren't they kind of the same dude?
I kind of think that they're mostly the same dude. I will give Fields the nod over my young guy Lance because of the school that Fields went to.
I was gonna say
and
one
the
went to a
college
better
experience.
program than the other, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as size and what they do, they kind of the same dude. I just don't know if Fields is more prolific, and it would be kind of hard for me to say that because we only have a very small sample size of what Trey Lance did before he got hurt.
Agreed.
My worry with the both of them is the current situation. Injuries can happen to anybody at any time. But when you're the quarterback and you take hits like that, my worry is always about that. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we kind of know why Oakland is putting Derek Carr on the shelf for right now.
Yeah, I was about to say the writing is on the wall, pretty much.
Yeah, he's
We
not
see
going
what's
to.
gonna
If he's a Raider past March the 1st, I would be more than shocked about that. Because at some point they'll have to come to a point where either they can find trade value in him and make an arrangement with a team who picks up how much of his salary, or you're going to have to outright cut him, eat the dead money, and see who clears him off of waiver wires. A lot of teams now may say, you know what, if you want us to trade for him, we'll give you a 4th round, we'll give you a 5th round pick, or maybe a 5th and a 3rd or something like that. But a lot of times they'll just say, hey, we're not going to overpay for him because we know that at some point you're going to have to release this dude and we just claim him off waivers.
I wonder what Davante Adams is thinking about all this right now, because he came there for him, and now he's going to be apparently without him.
Well, I think if the front office is clear with Davante that, hey, we're going after this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this, but we still want you to be a prime focus. Davante getting paid. He didn't know if he was going to get paid also in Green Bay because of the way Rodgers was doing things, and Rodgers was up and down. If the organization gives him a clear direction of what it is they're going to do and their plans for him, as much as that's his homeboy who laser focused on him too much, I think he'll stay. I mean, it ain't like he controls a lot. I mean, he's under contract, so he got to play.
Of course, he'll be there. I was just wondering about that sulking wide receiver thing. And that's the thing.
If they bring in somebody that can't get him the ball, then yeah, definitely. So that's why the priority needs to be whoever our next quarterback is going to be. It needs to be somebody that we feel will be able to get Davante the ball, throw him open, not be afraid to throw into double teams, not be able to sit there and audibilize. Carr was a script reader at the most. He just going to sit there and do what comes through the headset, run the plays, and things like that. If he sees matchups change, a lot of times he don't audible. So, if Adams knows that he's going to have a quarterback that's going to be able to analyze the coverages and things like that, throw the ball open to him, give him high balls, 50-50 balls and stuff like that, I think he'll be fine.
What's next for him? Rams, Tennessee, Indy, New York, Giants, Jets.
Well, the thing about the Giants, I thought about that at one point. Now, do you have a conundrum because the best scenario would have been Daniel Jones would have continued to be the DJ of old, but it looks like Daboll's gotten a little bit out of him.
Yeah.
So do you bring him there to, I don't know. Maybe he has to do a Trubisky and sit behind a starter for a year. Or hell, maybe you bring him. Well, no, because you don't want to take Pickens out of it. Maybe you bring him to the Jets. Yeah. Instead of having 89-year-old Flacco as the veteran, bring in, you know why? Because the Jets are ready to win.
Yeah.
Their defense is really good. They've got some running game. They've got some decent receivers. They just don't have a quarterback other than Mike White.
Yep.
Put Carr and Mike White in there, get rid of Zach Wilson, and you're good.
And they have appeared to have given up on Zach Wilson. So we'll see. It's going to be a really good offseason, though.
Yeah.
Finding out where Carr's going to land is going to be part of that.
It's going to be musical chairs. Let me see. Picks. Oh, okay. So picks for Tennessee and America's team tomorrow night. Tim, who's America's team? The Yankees?
Who the hell is that? Who the hell is that? Throw Tim up out of here.
Who is America's team? Hold on, let me see the schedule. Oh, the Cowboys are playing the Titans tomorrow at 8:15. Well, because it's an Amazon game, I would say that the Titans clearly are going to blow them out. But because it's on Amazon, and them games, and when I mean blow them out, I mean like 10-3. Those games have been horrible to watch. But in all honesty, Tim, it's hard to say. Should the Cowboys win that game? Absolutely. But you do have Derrick Henry for the Titans. So I don't know. I don't know which Dallas team will show up from one week to the next. Is it the Dallas team that played Jacksonville and Houston? Or is it going to be the one that played? And then, okay. I'll get into my whole Dallas critique because Dallas people went crazy because they beat Philadelphia without Jalen Hurts. And all I kept hearing was, well, hell, Gardner Minshew put up 34 points on us. What more could Jalen Hurts have done? Plenty. He could have sat there and froze your D-backs because they didn't know if he was going to take off and run. Did you really fear Gardner Minshew in an RPO situation on Sunday? I think not. And let's be honest, Dallas needed that game more than Philly did. But anyway, whatever. I really don't know. I want to say on paper, Dallas should beat the living crap out of Tennessee. I can't say that though. I don't know. Randy, you have anything about this game?
Yeah, America's team ain't playing Thursday night. We play Sunday. But I do have the Dallas Cowboys spanking Tennessee because of the fact that Tennessee is going to be starting Malik Willis. So there you go.
I mean, and you know what? But the problem with Dallas, and I said this at the beginning of the year, you cannot live off of interceptions because sometimes they come in bunches and then sometimes there's a drought. Your defense can't be top notch because you turn the ball over with an excessive amount of interceptions because that's not going to always be there. And when your defense has to sit there and nut up and everything, you get a 40-34 game. That don't tell a 40-34 game does not tell me that you have one of the best defenses in the NFL. But when I look at the stats and you didn't sack Gardner Minshew, didn't get sacked once. Michael Parsons ain't had a sack in the last 3 games and only one in the last 4. So he's probably getting tired too. But the whole thing about it, Rand, is when you have to, your defense has to be lights out for you to be so dominant. And when they're not, you are ordinary.
Yeah, I really didn't see cause for celebration when they beat Philadelphia.
No.
They had Uncle Rico starting at quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. And Uncle Rico walks in there with a week's worth of practice and puts up 300 yards and 30
Thank you.
Look, man, nah, that's not cause for celebration. You guys escaped with a victory because Philly was right there in the red zone. They just couldn't get it done in the final minute of the game. but that is absolutely
Rand,
zero cause for
Rand,
celebration.
do you realize if things had happened differently in Houston, where the quarterback ran the wrong way, 4 yards away, and then they had Jacksonville, and then they escaped this game, instead of the last 3 games being 2-1, they could have been 0-3
Easily. But just
easily.
look at the amount of points that the Dallas defense has surrendered in their last 3 games. I see concern there. I don't see any cause to be celebrating. I see
I
a lot
don't
of
either.
concern there.
I don't either. And to answer the earlier question about Tampa or Carolina playing them, because right now, if the playoffs started today, if Carolina wins out, it would be Dallas that would have to come to Carolina and get that ass whooped. I'm good for it. I'm good. Bring it on. You know, I ain't scared of them. I ain't scared of them. Dak can do all that little pregame. You're gonna shuffle that right on back to the Big D, bro. I'd rather play in Jerry World because that is not a home environment for them. But hey, you know, you tell me if Charlotte has a playoff game come January and the Dallas it would be interesting anyway because there's a lot of Cowboy fans in Charlotte. So it would be kind of funny to see what that stadium would look like on that day. But anyway, my point is that they're not afraid of the Cowboys. Bring on the Cowboys because they're inconsistent at best. When Dak is on, and he was on in the last game, I give him all the credit in the world. But Dak is an up and down player too. He's very streaky. I mean, the last time I saw that many streaks, I was 12 years old trying to change out my draws. Look, you can't be that streaky in the NFL because you can cost your team a lot of games. And you definitely don't want to be on the bad side of that streak when you get into the playoffs because it's win or go home.
Yeah, I could tell you a little bit about history. If history repeats itself, I would love it. 1996, the Dallas Cowboys come into Old Erickson Stadium and lose to the Carolina Panthers.
Yep.
2003, they bought their butts back into Bank of America Stadium and they lose to Steve Smith and Jake Delhomme in the Carolina.
I remember that passed down the seam, boy. Smitty made him look bad.
Yep. So as far as a third time bringing the Cowboys into Bank of America Stadium, come on, man, come on. I love it.
I'm with it.
I'm here for it.
Mm-hmm. That sounds delicious to me. Anyway, Adam says, catching up on the comments, I just don't know about Carr. They've done so much for him to not do anything. That is true. But you know what? I think honestly with Carr, think about we said earlier about consistency and stuff. Carr had Gruden last year, then they switched coaches, and he actually did better with the other coach. Then they bring in Josh McDaniels second time around again trying to coach. Didn't do so well the last time. And Carr hasn't responded well to him. I'm not saying it's all Josh McDaniels, but I have seen Josh McDaniels make some questionable calls as the coach of the Raiders.
Absolutely, brother. It's not all on Carr.
No.
I mean, look at what the Raiders have done with their draft picks. They drafted Alex Leatherwood way too high.
And to their point, they got rid of him. They admitted that was a mistake.
They did, but that was a wasted draft pick.
Wasted.
They had another wasted draft pick with the safety that they just let go not too long ago. He was also a number 1 pick. So if it wasn't a number 1, he was number 2. So
and remember, they did have a number 2 receiver that actually was removed from the team because he killed somebody. So, you know, all that did happen too. So I don't want to just throw it that way. Ryan Young is watching. What's up, Ryan?
What up, Ryan?
Raiders draft picks are almost completely washed. LOL. Absolutely. Absolutely. Anthony says, what if this happens? Jets are parting ways with Zach Wilson. What if the Raiders with Josh McDaniels pick him up? Pick up Zach Wilson? Hell, you might well keep Derek Carr.
So I don't even think Josh is going to be there next year, so we could start there.
What's up, Woodrow? Woody McManus, what's going on, sir? I don't know who would want Zach Wilson. I always thought he was undersized and didn't give you enough tape from college because wasn't he the one from BYU?
Yeah, that's a BYU guy.
And he didn't play during COVID, so I don't know, man. And there's already maturity issues, and locker room issues and things like that. Why would you look? If I was Josh McDaniels, knowing that I just coached some straight up dookie out there on the field, do I want to put my coaching job on the line for Zach Wilson? Hell no. Hell to the no. If Robert Saleh is smart, Zach Wilson gonna be on the first thing smoking. Because coaches' lifespans, man, do not last long unless your last name is Tomlin or Belichick. Other than that, you got a short lifespan in the NFL. So I ain't doing that. Woody says, I'm watching the Tar Heels game right now. Yeah, Woody, I had another Tar Heel on here. See, Woody kills me because, he's only somewhat demented. He's a strong Cowboy fan, but he's a Carolina fan too. Not Panthers, Tar Heels. So we can rock together on college, but on Drake May just got sacked. Oh, that Carolina, Drake May. Are they playing football?
Is the bowl game tonight?
Oh, I thought they already played the bowl game.
No, Carolina has another bowl game.
That was the ACC championship. Yeah, it is the bowl game tonight. That is right. It is tonight.
Okay.
That was the ACC championship. Yep.
Well, props to you, Drake May, for turning down $5 million to remain with us. We do appreciate that, sir.
Yes, sir. Every day. Let me see what else I got on here. So I don't think of anything about the Zach Wilson thing. Trey Lance hasn't proven anything. That's what Tim was talking about when we were talking about Trey Lance. That Vegas team is young and has some weapons. Carr just hasn't been able to. Yeah, well, he's laser focused in on Devontae. That's why I think really all Carr really needs right now is a change of scenery, not being with his homeboy where he feels obligated to try to force feed him the ball on every play. Adam says Washington, but not sure what that was in reference to. Adam also said Jones needs some wide receivers. Daniel Jones, I would imagine. I also said Tennessee has not been playing well. They really haven't, but they're streaky too. Malik Willis could sit there and run you to a win. He may elude the quarterbacks, use his feet a lot. And if you got Malik Willis doing RPOs with Derrick Henry, oh, hell, who knows? Anthony says, well, Titans have a good defense. That's true. Adam says your confidence is high, B. In the Panthers. Look, you know why my confidence is high? Because number one of where they started, what the expectations are, they have nothing to lose. Who has more pressure on them if they play the Cowboys? Because you know how the Dallas fans are. They wake up in the morning going, we're going to win the Super Bowl, right? Damn, dude, brush your teeth. Shit. That's how they wake up. Panther fans do not wake up thinking about the Panthers. That's like the 10th thing on our to-do list is to think about the Panthers. Cowboy fans just are deluded sometimes into thinking that because they're Cowboys, they inherently should go to the Super Bowl, which hasn't happened in 27 years. But anyway, don't let that stop you, even though my daughter is also 27 and has never seen it happen. Raiders, we already read that. Woody, what's up? Zach Wilson loves maturity.
Yeah, he does.
That's wrong.
Keep him away from your mama's friends, baby.
Oh, God. That reminds me of who was it with Coach Field's wife? Which Star Hill did that happen? Was it Jeff?
Man.
Was it McGinnis?
No.
You remember that? Oh, God.
Yeah, I definitely remember.
Yeah. It
was McGinnis. It was Jeff McGinnis.
Was it Touche? Okay. Yeah. Another Dub C grad.
Yeah, LeBron's mama too. We could throw that one in.
Wasn't that with what's his name?
Devontae or whatever.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. You gotta keep him away sometimes. All right. Drake May just got sacked. Bowl game, Holiday Bowl. That's what he's watching. Okay, on Fox. Cool. And wait a minute, we got more comments. Okay, let's see what else we got. Okay, Ryan says How do you guys think Adams is going to feel with his boy being shipped, though? I don't think he'll be happy with that. That's why he came to Vegas. Yeah, but I think there's I think there's 28 million reasons that he'll be okay. 1, 2, and plus he keeps that neat Taco Bell in his house. So that's got to count for something. Listen, he getting them commercials and he getting that bread. He ain't gonna like the fact that his boy is gonna get moved. But you know what? He'll be the first one to tell you that it's a business. And Woody says, not me. I still think my Cowboys are inconsistent this year. Oh, I think he means not me about being a deluded Cowboy fan. Woody, I will give you credit. You're not one of the overall crazy Cowboy fans. You do acknowledge when your Cowboys, you don't go crazy when they win. You just acknowledge they win and move on, which I think everybody should do. They are inconsistent. Adam says Joe Burrow MVP, especially after we beat Buffalo.
Maybe. I'm still going with Hurts.
You still with Hurts?
I'm still with Hurts.
It's gonna be close. I hear that Justin Jefferson thinks that there's something wrong that his name hadn't been mentioned in it either. After he just broke Randy Moss's record up in Minnesota.
That's pretty sick, man.
and look, he's doing that with Kirk Cousins as his quarterback, who Stephon Diggs said he couldn't do nothing with Kirk Cousins, so that's why he went to Buffalo.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson been doing a lot of grittying in that end zone.
That's true. Adam also says Delonte West. Yeah. And
yeah.
We hope Delonte is doing okay because he's been going through it the last couple of years, being on the streets and stuff like that. So, and Woody says, and I'm still afraid of the 49ers, as you should be. Because all Brock Purdy has done since he's been asked to step in for Jimmy G is keep winning games. So, yeah. Ryan says 28 million reasons. Taco Tay will be all right. Yeah, Ryan, you're absolutely all over it. And let's see. Anthony says, can we agree with that Joe Burrow will get paid more than Lamar Jackson?
He should.
Yeah. He's at least taking them to a Super Bowl. Yes, Lamar.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if you ask me to choose between Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson as my starting quarterback, it ain't even close.
It's love Lamar. A choice.
Yeah. Bro, you get no argument from either one of us from that one. And Ryan says, as a Cincy fan, I got to give Burrow his props. Yeah. That's a stretch. Anthony says, Hurts sitting out is messing up the MVP race. Is it going to Patrick? You know, they want to give Mahomes this thing so bad. I even hear whether it's Nick Young on First Things First talking about that. That's all he ever thinks of. Anything can be about Patrick Mahomes. Hey, look at the sun today. You know who else is seeing the sun today? Who? Patrick Mahomes. Nick, come on, man, bro. Get out of his ass. You know, but yeah, but I don't know. Should it be Patrick Mahomes? I don't think so. Should he be in the conversation? Yeah, but there's about 5 guys that should be in the MVP talk. And Adam says, when was the last time a wide receiver won MVP?
Good question.
Jerry Rice.
Probably was Jerry Rice.
Yeah, they just assume it should be the QB because the QB is the one that got the receiver the ball. He touches the ball every snap. So I guess Woody says Kirk Cousins plays well as long as he's not in the spotlight. That's true. But then he'll sit there and go around. You like that? So anyway, Jermaine says LeBron got Delonte on crack because he slept with his mom.
Next comment. Your brother wrong, man.
I'm dead. I can't. I'm gonna have to cancel the rest of the show.
Move on.
I'm gonna have to pin that comment. But no, I'm just kidding. Ryan said, "Oh God damn."
I am not associated with that comment. For anybody that's watching.
Oh God. Ryan says KOC helped make Cup a Triple Crown winner. Jefferson set for a while as long as they have him. Not saying he's MVP. Sorry if that was confused. It's Mahomes versus Hurts right now. Yeah, I see that too. I do. I mean, not saying Burrow is MVP. Yeah, but you know who they want to give it to. Jermaine says I'll be on head to head tomorrow. That is good, Jermaine, because on head to head tomorrow, we will be talking about recapping 2022, the highs of 2022, the lows of 22. So glad that you'll be on for that show. And hey, well, and the title of the show for tomorrow for me is reflection and projection. Looking back, but also looking forward into what it is that we want to be able to see for ourselves in the upcoming year. So I think that there's value in doing both of those things.
For those who are watching that might be a little confused, Head to Head is a great show hosted by my man BP. They take on current events that are happening in our nation, and not just sports, talking about all kinds of current events. You guys should check it out, peep in on that. I don't know when it comes on.
It'll be on tomorrow. It streams live just like this show does, but it comes on at 6. In 2023, we will be moving to a 7 p.m. slot because we did the same thing with the sports show, and I think that was one of the best calls that we did, Ram, with moving it from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock.
Absolutely. So that's the difference.
A lot more eyeballs on the show. So definitely we'll be doing that.
That's the difference. Head to Head is a talk show that BP hosts, and then Head to Head Sports is a sports show that he and I host. So that's
right. That is the difference. Ryan says, y'all have a great night and better New Year. I got to check it out for now, but love checking in with the Water Cool fam. Much love and keep doing your thing. Thank you, sir. Post-dinner discussion.
Appreciate you, Ryan.
And Anthony says if Coop didn't get MVP last year, Jefferson won't get it this year. That's a great point, too, because if he got the Triple Crown and couldn't get MVP, as good as Justin Jefferson has been, he ain't got the Triple Crown. Yeah. So that's a great point. That's a great point. You're right. I didn't even think about it that way, but absolutely right. So, hey guys, man, that's a lot of great comments. I'm actually caught up on those for right now. And I know we only got like about 3 minutes left, Ram, but any games that you'll be watching this week coming?
Oh man, big time. Sunday, my eyes will be all over the TV as I'm hoping that Miami loses for one at the 4 o'clock game. I'm also at the 1 o'clock game. My eyes are going to be on the Panthers, hopefully taking down Tampa.
They will.
And then, of course, Sunday night, hoping my boys take care of business against the Ravens. So Sunday's a full slot of TV watching for me.
Absolutely. Well, just to go ahead and put a tomorrow night, of course. Tomorrow night's game, I'm going to go ahead and give the nod to the Cowgirls. I don't want to, but I'm going to have to. I have to recognize the fact that they are the better team on paper. Adam says Buffalo Cincy Monday Night Football. That is going to be a crazy game. Where's it going to be, Adam? While he's telling me that, Cardinals at the Falcons, 1 o'clock game. I just don't see the Cardinals really doing a lot. I see the Falcons just doing enough to etch that out. Pats and the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are going to be in New England. I think that's going to play right into their hands. So that should be a win for the Patriots. Also not having Tua probably for concussion protocol. You also have the Saints going to the Eagles. I hope I'm saying these right. Saints at the Eagles. That's right. So I got the Eagles in that game, whether it's Gardner Minshew or whether it's Jalen Hurts. Doesn't really matter. It's going to be really the Miles Sanders and A.J. Brown show. A.J. Brown was limited in practice, but I think they're just resting him up right before the game. Colts are going to go to New York to face those Giants. I can't believe I'm saying this. Big Blue, do your thing. We already talked about the Panthers and the Bucks. Then we got the Broncos and the Chiefs. Next, we got the Bears and the Lions. We need to talk about the Broncos and the Chiefs. That's got to be a slaughter. If the Rams put up 51 points on you, oh my God, Travis Kelce is going to run all over your ass. I'm so sorry. And the Bears play the Lions. The Lions have a lot of fight in them, and it's going to be in Detroit. I actually got Detroit winning this game. You got the Browns and the Commanders. Carson Wentz is coming in for. Is Heineke hurt? Is that why Wentz is back?
Heineke is being benched. Yeah.
They're the same dude. Okay. The numbers are so similar, it's crazy. They're the same dude. Okay, but they're gonna play the Browns. If they put a few massage tables on the 50-yard line, that should be enough to give the Commanders to win. I'm sorry.
We only have a few minutes left, but I do want to say, for all you Cleveland Brown fans that just thought that you was just going to take Watson and start him and he was going to win all these games in a row and put y'all into the playoffs this year, please wake up. I hope you're awake.
If y'all thought that,
I hope you're awake now.
If y'all thought that, then maybe Delonte West gave y'all some of that crack. But you should never take crack from people that you don't know.
Man.
Oh, man, that must have been laced real good. Let me see. Woody says, I'll be watching that game. Adam says, Riverboat Ron. And Woody says, Commanders will lose with Wentz. Bro, I believe that too. He's good for throwing a fourth quarter interception pick six. To seal the game. So then we got the Jags at the Texans. Sunshine is coming into his own. I'm going to give the Jags the W on that game. They're actually aren't they playing for a playoff spot?
They are playing to win the AFC South, and I think
they're first in the AFC. If they win that game and Tennessee loses, then they're going to be in.
Crown them. Crazy.
Yeah,
crown them.
Yeah. Adam says free crack giveaway in Cleveland. Adam, that's interesting, but I don't want to even want to ask how you know that. But anyway, the 49ers against the Raiders. Water is wet. The Jets play the Seahawks in Seattle. I'm going to give that to the Seahawks. Geno's going to have a great game. His receivers are definitely going to eat. Vikings at the Packers. This should be interesting. Can Aaron Rodgers pull out enough magic? I don't know. Lazard did look pretty good in the last game. That's a toss-up to me. But the Vikings seem to have a lot more to play for. They're playing for the division. The Packers are playing for a wild card, I believe. Rams at the Chargers. Justin Herbert has reemerged. Cam Akers ran the other day. I'm not Cam Akers. Oh, God, now I forgot his name. Eckler is doing well as well. We got the Steelers at the Ravens. I actually got the Steelers in this game because they got a lot to play for. That's going to be Sunday Night Football.
Let's go.
Under them bright lights. The Ravens do not do well at the end of the year, whether it's Tyler Huntley, whether it's Lamar Jackson. They start to fall off and hope that their early wins that they stacked help carry them into the postseason. Can't do that this year, bro. You got to win. And last but not least, we got the Bills and the Bengals. William Ben Rose, what's going on, bro?
Rose, what's happening, my man?
And the Bills played the Bengals in Cincinnati, Monday Night Football. I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. Who dey?
Man, that's going to be hard for me to call, bro. So I'm going to hold off.
I'm going to go ahead. You heard it here first. Who dey? And then I'll say, as far as Tuesday, BP UNC will be facing the Kings.
Crown them.
Anyway. And Woody says Jags are in first place. That is true. And Adam says he's rooting for Pittsburgh too, but he says, who dey? Say it, Rand.
What? You are pulling for Pittsburgh. Stop the presses.
Yes, he is. Yes.
It's going to snow in Hawaii.
How bad he hates the Ravens, so.
It's going to snow in Hawaii, man.
It probably will. But look, guys, hey, thank y'all for tuning in. We got a couple of more shows. We got 2 more weeks of the regular season. We'll be with you all the way through the playoffs, all the way through the Super Bowl and everything else like that. So he says, I have to. Yeah, because of the Ravens. But regardless, we appreciate the support. Thank y'all for tuning in. Need Baltimore to keep losing. Great show. Thank you, Jermaine. And we will do this again. Just keep up with us again. If you have YouTube, please go to our link at Empower TV on YouTube. Check us out on Roku if you have a Roku streaming device, or Amazon Fire TV for Empower TV, where you can catch this show, all the other shows. I've got films on there, comedy, music videos, everything else like that too.
KendrickColt.com. KendrickColt.com.
If you at Kendrick Colt is going to be performing. Hey guys, if you know anybody that wants to advertise on the network, please send me a message, and we can also add those ads in so they can promote their business, service, or goods on TV. So we will do that for you. We got to get out of here. Thanks to my co-host, Mr. Randall Hargrove. We'll do it again next week, sir. Y'all be easy out there. Happy New Year. We will see y'all again next year. Y'all be good. Peace.